Hey, how's it going? Today is day 65 of my 100-day inspiration challenge, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite quotes. So I absolutely love quotes. I look at them all the time. I use them as inspiration, as affirmations. And this quote is something that I heard over and over and over again. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it wasn't something that I really took seriously or that I internalized or thought deeper about. So the quote is, "Everything you want is on the other side of your fear." And it is a quote by Jack Canfield. And so I just want to dig a little bit deeper into this quote because, like I said, I didn't take it seriously. I heard it lots of times, but I didn't actually realize the truth in it until I started taking risks, until I started getting out of my comfort zone. And then I realized that I was finding myself in these situations. I was finding more happiness, more joy, more opportunities because of the risks, because of the scary things that I was doing. And so I realized the truth of this quote that I'd heard so many times, that everything you want is on the other side of your fears. So I want to dig a little bit deeper with you. And first, I want to talk about finding clarity. Do you know what it is that you want? Do you clearly and specifically know? And if you are thinking about it right now, if you are like, oh yeah, like I wrote about it a couple weeks ago, or I kind of know, like I want to do this, then that's not clear enough. You have to be so clear and so specific on what it is you want so that it is at the forefront of your mind, so that you are thinking of it constantly, so that it is so within you. It has to be the number one thing that you are focusing on. And not to take away from your relationships or your quality of life, but you have to be so intentional with that thing that it is you want. And you have to just focus on one thing. I know it's easy to want to do a bunch of different things. Yes, you can do lots of different things, but there should be one thing that you are more focused on than anything else. One thing at a time that you are specifically focusing on achieving. And it can be finding more positivity. It could be creating a better relationship. It could be building a new business. But one specific thing that you really want, and specifically knowing what that outcome is that you want. So first step is knowing clearly and specifically what it is that you want. The second thing is, what is in your way? So you are currently at your current position in life, and this thing that you want, it is over here, and then you have this bridge, right? You have this bridge of achievement or growth that you have to go through to get to that thing that you want. But there are things that are in your way. There are fears that are probably holding you back, because in order to get to someplace that you've never been before, you have to become a better version of yourself. You have to step out of your comfort zone, and that is scary. And that always leads to butting up against those fears. And so you have to overcome those fears, but it is so worth it, because on the other side of those fears is your goal, is that achievement, is that thing that you want. So a couple things to think about facing your fears, because at the end of the day, your fear is always going to be there. As you progress through life, as you accept new challenges, as you take on different challenges, your fear is always going to be there, because you're always going to be elevating. You're always going to be growing. So learning to work with fear rather than push your fear away is going to be a really helpful tool. One thing that I like to do is I acknowledge fear. So it happens all the time. I feel fear all the time. And I acknowledge fear and I say, oh, that is just my fear talking. And I understand fear. Thank you so much for trying to be there for me in the best way that you know how. You are trying to keep me safe, because that is what your fear does. Your fear protects you in dangerous situations. And so sometimes it can be a really great thing, but not when it comes to achieving your goals, right? It is not helpful in that way, but you can still say, thank you, fear. I appreciate for what it is you are trying to do. There is a really great book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic, and it is phenomenal. And she talks about this concept of going on a journey with fear. And she says that her inspiration and fear, for any new creative endeavor, they go on a journey. And she tells her fear, you are welcome to come on this journey, but me and inspiration are going to make the choices. You are going to sit in the back seat and you're welcome to come on the trip, but you're not going to have any input. So the first thing to getting over your fear, getting through your fear so that you can have the life you want, is to acknowledge that fear and work with that fear. Honor it for what it is and do that scary thing anyway. So you can either do that scary thing anyway, knowing, okay, I see you, fear. I honor you for what you're trying to do, but I am going to take this risk because it is important to me to get to that thing that I want. So doing the thing even though you don't know the outcome, challenging yourself to get to that other side of the fear. The second thing you can do is you can question your fear. So is this really the truth? So maybe you're trying to build your business and you want to reach out to somebody who has some resources, but you're afraid to look bad because that person that you want to reach out to has a lot of influence and you're afraid that they're going to look down on you. They're not going to want to help you. All of these stories that we tell ourselves. Face that fear and question it. Is this really true? Is it true that this person doesn't want to help me? Why would this person not want to help me? You know, those fears, like I said, they are there to protect you. They want to keep you in your comfort zone, but that doesn't make them true. So you have to dig a little bit deeper and do some work and really go inward and look at it. Is this fear true? Is this fear serving me? Do I want to let this fear get the best of me? Do I want to believe this fear? Do I choose to believe this fear? Because you have a choice. You can believe that fear as truth, or you can just acknowledge it as what it is, a fear, and then you can say, all right, fear, thank you so much, but that's actually not true. So I'm going to do it anyway. The third thing that you can do is see that fear. So again, using that example that I just gave, that fear of reaching out to someone that is outside of your comfort zone, and visualizing what could go right. So your fear is that that person is going to look down on you, that that person isn't going to want to help you. But what if you just shut that fear off? And what if you said, you know, what if that's not true? And what if it actually turned out amazing? What if we had amazing rapport? What if we had really great, deep connection? What if I was able to help that person just as much as they're able to help me? And really going on a wild visualization, because visualization is very important for success. And you have to know where you're going in order to get to where you want to go. But visualization, it's hard for a lot of people because it's not something that we normally do. Except it is actually something that we normally do, because all the time, like, if I'll just speak for myself, but I know that you can relate. But sometimes if I'm waiting for somebody and they're late and I don't hear from them, so maybe 5 minutes, I'm 5 minutes and the person I'm waiting for is 5 minutes late. And at first I'm angry and then I don't hear from them. And then it's 10 minutes late and then I'm like getting a little bit concerned. And then it's 15 minutes late and suddenly that person has died in a car accident and I am like full out concerned, right? So that is where my head goes. That is a visualization. However, that is not a visualization that is going to serve me. So we all do it. We all practice visualization. It's just a matter of training ourselves, building that muscle of visualizing the things that we want to happen, the outcomes that we want to achieve. So when that fear comes at you, you face it, you acknowledge it, you question it, and then you visualize what you actually want. So those are the 3 things to help you to overcome your fears, because it really is so true. Take this in as truth. It is said so many times because it is true. Success leaves clues. Everything that you want in life is on the other side of your fear, whatever that is. So you have to get super clear on what it is you want. You have to know where you're going, and then you have to see, okay, what do I need to do to get to the other side, and what are the fears that are holding me back? And then you can take action on those fears. You can do this. You can do hard things. I know you can. You are amazing. Thank you so much for showing up with me today. If you want to dive deeper, you can head over to my website, showuptogoup.com. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.